Hi Pukstas! Let's get connecting. In this video, I will give you a brief refresher on how to find other Puksta scholars and alumni through your Puksta online community. So let's get logged in. This will bring you to your home page. Let's first start with the interactive map. There are two ways that we can get to the interactive map. The first is to click this area here. Second is to go up to Connect, go down to Interactive Map. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it'll bring you to a map with a bunch of pinpoints that denote where people are either living or working. So let's say you wanted to host an event in downtown Denver, and you wanted to look around the area to see if you could find people that are either working or living nearby to join or maybe even help volunteer for your event. So you go ahead and click a few of the pinpoints here, and let's say you wanted to learn a little bit more about that person in that area. Go ahead and click on their profile, and you can learn a little bit more about what they're doing now, what their education was, and if you wanted to reach out to them, you would hit the Contact tab, and you could send them an email or give them a phone call. Maybe you're not looking for somebody in Denver. Maybe you want to see who is abroad, or maybe who's in a different city in the US. You could do this by just clicking the minus button and scrolling out to see who you could find. And then doing the same thing, you could click on their profile and go a little further to contact them. Or you could come over here to location and you could type in their city. So let's see if we have anybody in Boston. So there we are. So if you wanted to contact her and learn a little bit more about what she's doing now, that would be the way to go about it. So let's say you know another scholar or an alumni that's living in a different city or state, but they have not updated their profile. And you want to contact them because you know it would be very beneficial for them to have that information on the online community. You can put their email in here, and you can update the note here. You can keep it as is and send that along. Now, if you didn't want to use the map, you could come over here to the filter view to bring up a list of people instead and see them that way. Or you could come up here and just hit member search. It would do the same thing. Now you can see all of the different ways that we can search for alumni or scholars or even coordinators or former coordinators, right? So here you could search by affiliation and say, I just want to bring up a full list of all the current Puksta scholars. So you just click Puksta Scholar, come down here, apply filters, and here it would bring up all the current Puksta scholars. Now let's say you needed this list, maybe you were doing a survey for your class or maybe for your project. So you could click all of them, select all, create a new list, and say current Puksta scholars. We'll just do PS to save time. This list function is going to be very helpful if you are trying to find a bulk group for whatever you're looking for. Now, a way to utilize that list is to go up again to the Connect button, come down to My List, and here you can see all of the lists that you have made. And from there, you can go ahead and click your current Puksta Scholar list. And within this list, you could do a few things. You can send them all a message. You can export the information, and from here you could say, I just want to export their mobile number and maybe what school they go to. and then you can export users that way. You could also, use this as a checklist and check off when you have met that Puksta scholar and maybe a little information about them. So let's go back to member search. And let's say you wanted to even search by school. Maybe, you are a new Puksta scholar and you want to get to know all of the scholars at your specific university. So you could go ahead and click on the University of Boulder if that's where you attend school, and that would bring up all of the scholars from CU Boulder. Maybe you're an alumni, or you want to speak to alumni from a certain time period of when they've graduated. So go ahead and put in any range of year that you're looking for, and it'll bring up all of the Puksta scholars or Puksta alumni that graduated within that time frame. And again, you can make the list for that graduation year range. Always remember to come up and reset all filters if you are moving on to a different set of filters that you're searching for. Otherwise, it will block you out and you won't get where you want to go. Now let's say you want to search by a school, or maybe even like a school, in a certain area, and you could see who went there to get advice. Maybe you wanted to get your master's or doctorate from the same school, of the University of Washington. So you could reach out to these two Puksta alumni. If you wanted to get even deeper with it, you could say, maybe I want to narrow it down to a certain field of study and not do a school. And then you could find all of the alumni that have furthered their study within the category that you are looking for. So you could get very specific with how you want to search for alumni or for current scholars. You can search by what they're doing now. You can search by their experience that they've had. You could search even by skills and languages. Let's say you are doing a project and you need translators. So let's see how many pop up if you are looking for Spanish translators. So there's quite a few. Maybe you say, I think I only want alumni to help me. So you could build upon that search and say, let's see who are the alumni that also speak Spanish. So it'll narrow your list down. And then again, you can select all and create a list. So make sure you have everybody in one area so you don't lose the filters that you're trying to search for. Now down here, you can search again for location, or you can use the map. That's up to you. Those are two different ways to search for location. Now down here under more search filters, this is where it gets a little bit more specific for the Puksta community, because we have, what is your civic engagement or social justice passion? So let's say you want to find scholars and alumni that are working or have worked in education. That's their passion, right? So you type in education and you pop up all of the alumni and scholars that are working in education. So really there is all different ways you could search for alumni, for current scholars. Just get creative with it. You just play around, you can't do any harm. Create as many lists as you want. You can always go back to your lists and delete them when you're done. You can modify them every year as they change, and just have fun with it. Remember, the Puksta online community will only be as fruitful as you make it. So make sure when you go to your profile, click edit, and if something's changed with your job, with your contact information, with your address, make sure you update that within the system so those that are looking to maybe connect with you can find you. And don't worry, when you have your address in here, when it shows up on the map, it just shows up as the pinpoint. It doesn't include your address. And you can come in here and make that public if you want people to be able to see that as they dig deeper into your information, or you can make that private and it'll still show that pinprick, but it will not give anyone your physical address. So just remember that. It is very important to at least put the city and state that you're in. If you don't want to include the full address, that would be a huge help with having others be able to find you. Well, that wraps up our brief refresher on how to find other Puksta scholars and alumni through your Puksta Online community. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. I'm available by a phone call, by text, or email. And I look forward to connecting with you all. Until then, take care.